What do you feel when you hear this melody? Nostalgia, awe, or perhaps grief for something you lost long ago. This is Tori no Uta, or A Bird's Poem, what you might recognize as the opening to the visual novel and anime Hare. And it is, in my opinion, the greatest song attached to any anime property ever and one of my favorite songs of all time. That sentiment is far from unpopular. Covers and uploads of the song's various versions permeate the web and trace back to almost 2 decades ago. Internet users have eulogized the song from YouTube comments to forum posts to this day, sharing their own intimate connection with it and cementing it as a classic in anime fandom. At one point, Tori no Uta was even crowned the national anthem of anime, and is still referred to as such in many Asian fan circles. So, what is so powerful about Tori no Uta all these years later? What about the song gave it such a lofty title? Well, let's go back to those 1000 summers. When you distill a song to its barest melodic elements in something like an acoustic arrangement, as many YouTube comments on Tori no Uta covers have pointed out, the purity and intensity of the song's emotions can hit you in a completely different way. And I'll be the first one to say I fucking love these instrumental versions to the point of shedding tears, because the core of the song is incredible. Some melodies just feel eternally essential, and this track's deceptively simple lead is able to wash me in melancholy while fluttering with so much life. It's nimble, achingly dramatic, but also deeply warm, paraphrasing a 2008 review, like a ray of sunlight hitting your face. It's one of the most vivid pieces of music I've ever listened to, and the opening notes genuinely get me to hold my breath every time they pass through my ears. Even with that said, I still don't think any of these alternatives and instrumentals can replace the original 2000 version. Not only because Leah's voice is one of a kind, and beautiful, and I love her, but also because of its goofy ass beat boops. Despite its melody being so timeless, Tori no Uta paradoxically traps itself in its time. Right off the bat, the piano is accompanied by these airy, ethereal synths that date the song at least 20 years, which is then followed by these cheesy stabs and trance beats that scream, "I made this on a Roland Sound Canvas 88, is that gonna make sense to anybody?" Which, when I first encountered the song as a teenager, made my zoomer ass recoil a bit. But as I inevitably replayed this track over and over again, I grew an acceptance and eventually deep appreciation of the song's jarring juxtaposition between classy melancholy and trendy electropop. It feels endearing, a powerful reminder of where and when the song came from. It gives it an incredibly unique, summery atmosphere you simply can't find in other songs of its time besides the songs written by the same guys, not to mention contemporary summer bangers like Benson Boone. So to turn that chessboard thinking around, it might be safe to say you can't grasp the totality of Tori no Uta, a song so steeped in its history, without understanding its surrounding cultural context. So, let's talk about that context. First and foremost, the song is the opening theme to Hare, the second commercial game of visual novel studio Key, some of the most pivotal developers in the history of the medium. Their work initially stood out in the eroge scene due to a much heavier focus on characters and plot, and with 1 and canon in 98 and 99 respectively, they didn't just help cement the format most visual novels would take, clicking through dialogue and making choices rather than the adventure games of PC 98, they also coined an entire genre, the Nakige, or crying game, which is what it says on the can, created the first semblance of modern visual novel fandom alongside Leaf with the Leaf keyboard on 2chan, and also inspired people such as Kinoko fucking Nasu and Ryukichi 0 fucking 7 to pick up their pens and write their own medium-defining stories. Hare in particular marks the company's last game to be released with adult content at launch, well on PC anyways, and the last game before the all ages CLANNAD broke through a new market and became their best-selling game of all time. But strangely, 5 years after Hare's release, its TV anime adaptation represented the exact opposite. A beginning for one Kyoto Animation. Having only done additional work, some OVAs and a spin-off plus sequel to Full Metal Panic, 2005's Hare was the first time the fledgling studio produced a full new IP. And of course, they knocked it out of the goddamn park because they're the best, and the world got to see how powerful the KyoAni polish really is. This would start a trilogy of collaborations between Key and KyoAni that became legendary in its own right, but the crown jewel of their 2000s work has to be the show that came immediately after Hare. The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, the quintessential work of Akiba age otaku culture, which started a wave that changed the way people marketed anime, popularized light novel adaptations, and by extension, changed the entire industry. If Hare didn't exist, Ki would probably still hit it big. Some other KyoAni IP might become just as dominant as Haruhi because of the sheer passion and skill that made them stand out from their contemporaries in the first place. But could you say that without Hare helping them take that next step, anime, visual novels, otaku culture would be in the same place in 2026? I doubt it. That's the nebulous, ethereal place this work and this song occupies. Even though the Hare game did sell very well, the series might still seem like a footnote besides these genre-shifting stories. But it is precisely how he managed to sit on precipices of culture in more than one of his adaptations that makes it such a compelling time capsule. Once you start to look, you see beginnings and ends everywhere around Hare. The Hare movie was one of the last things visionary anime director Osamu Dezaki made before his passing. Leah, the singer of Tori no Uta, began her career at 16 years old with this song on accident, and would go on to sing most of Ki's iconic tracks and become an incredibly beloved artist. Most strange of all, this is also just kind of what the story is about. I don't really care for Hare's narrative, especially the ultra-condensed, crow-centric form the anime presents, but what has stuck with me all these years later are the last moments of the final episode. Compared to Maeda Jun's other magical realist stories, Hare is particularly existential. It's a cosmic tale that suggests our fate, spanning centuries and generations, are cyclical. From collapsing magical empires to the decay of the Japanese countryside post-bubble economy to the death of your child, we are destined to be stuck in unfolding tragedies and calamities. But at the same time, love will always blossom alongside it. People will carry on in each other's memories, and they will move forward, trying to live their lives to the fullest. The acknowledgement that we will keep losing and gaining and losing and gaining all over again is the only eternity we will ever know. Like an endless blue summer sky. The main themes of the three key KyoAni collabs all fit their shows incredibly well. Cannon's Ephemeral Last Regrets conveys its theme through sheer atmosphere, as this is the closest a song has simulated the feeling of a crystalline, wistful winter to me. CLANNAD's soundtrack is much more expansive, but arguably its most important motif, introduced in the song Nagisa, is structured much like a simple, repetitive nursery rhyme, building and evolving across the show, reflecting how the story centers around family but really explores every aspect of human life and connection. And on a late summer night in 2020, watching the final minutes of Hare on my phone, I finally truly understood Tori no Uta. Its ascending notes that sway, repeat, but ultimately soar across these airy sins, searching for the girl in the sky. One day, she will return by your side. But now, hold that hand tight and walk along the beach. Beginning with a direct, textual reminder of its time, Tori no Uta sprawls out into a collage of cultural connections and community right before an otaku boom. Not as a coherent progression, but a series of ends and beginnings, a yarn of stories about people, stories about stories that in a surreal way loops back into the text it's attached to and represents. The vivid line the song threads between its sensory experience and its context is so fascinating to me. But it also suggests something else. While we obviously should never view art in a vacuum, maybe we should also interrogate how we place art objects within any context. Having watched this far, I suspect some people might be calling everything I've said conjecture, and I guess I can't argue with that. I cannot transport back to 2005 when I was -1 year old and see if I'm right about any of this. YouTube, full of creators with documentarian aspirations, does have a heavy focus on the tangible elements of history, the creators, the techniques, the facts basically, sometimes with a few influences traced back and forth. But that framework I think misses out on a lot of the intricacies and ephemeralities of culture. In media studies, we call Tori no Uta's interconnected networks of emerging cultural shifts, institutions, and media experiences constellations. It's a way to understand how media shapes the world without resorting to teleology. That is, the view of history where historical developments all serve an end goal. You've all seen these kind of domino images before. Every major development in media like TV and the internet affected anywhere from distribution models to the contemporary social fabric to the physical and psychological experience of every single person, all sprawling out and feeding into each other to the point that without any one of which, the image of the era would be woefully incomplete. Think in systems, not timelines. Assuming art has a cause and effect or an end goal is naive. To assume culture can be quantified is naive. I'd argue instead of, trying to find an empirical reason why Tori no Uta was so popular, viewing it as an inextricable part, an embodiment of the constellation that is early to mid-2000s otaku culture, a time of change, dramaticism, of bishoujo games and experimentation, is the only way to make sense of it, and a strange position as the national anthem of anime. Oh yeah, I should probably talk about that, shouldn't I? let's talk about the specific form Tori no Uta's legacy has taken. Most prominently in Japanese and Chinese otaku circles, Tori no Uta is often referred to as the national anthem of ACG, anime, comics, and games. I don't know why it's abbreviated to that. Just speaking from personal experience growing up in Chinese anime fandom, it is almost impossible to find any video, any discussion board featuring Tori no Uta that doesn't mention this phrase. Plenty of things have sat in very interesting precipices of culture, but not everyone gets saddled with this dramatic and specific term. Besides, I guess, like, Halo? I don't know, I don't care. So where does such a pervasive meme come from? Most people believed it to have originated on Japan's popular video sharing website Nico Nico Doga and later its Chinese counterpart Bilibili. Now, since NND was established in 2006, when Hare and Tori no Uta were hitting their stride in popularity, coining a phrase around the song that obviously reveres it does make sense. What's more, there's not many things the Japanese love more than a good pun, and the first kanji in the name of Hare's protagonist, Kunisaki, just happens to be the same kanji for country, so national anthem could also be read as Kunisaki's song. So, case closed, right? You see, there's a funny thing that these ancient Asian wikis do, which is called, not citing shit, making this reasoning only a plausible theory. And do you know what other ideas have been proposed as plausible theories? Do you? Do you? I got a board! Some people said that the phrase came from a 2007 NHK radio show, where between primetime broadcasts and nationwide pop music, a song as otaku as Tori no Uta was accidentally snuck in, and the fans ran with it. Some say it's because of the long-standing issue of Japan's quite problematic national anthem, Kimigayo, which caused people to half-jokingly say that if Tori no Uta was always topping the charts, why shouldn't we just make that a national anthem? Some people even say that a parliament member suggested it, which is probably not true. It could also somehow be a 2chan thing. So in 2007, a really angry poster became infamous after people tried lumping in his beloved key with other eroge companies. When others tried to claim CLANNAD as an eroge, which is genuinely not true as I said, he refuted with,
"No, CLANNAD is not an eroge, CLANNAD is life. Maybe." Which
immediately caught on and started a whole new vernacular in otaku circles. Fate is literature, CLANNAD is life, and Tori no Uta is the national anthem. I find the pseudo-meme 2chan pioneered here really fascinating, so let me list off some of my other favorites. Saya no Uta is pure love. Idol Master is the economy. Bakemonogatari is the universe. CLANNAD Afterstory is the afterlife. H2O is class disparity. Steins Gate means nothing. Bamboo Blade is bamboo blade. And I haven't even got into the Chinese community, where the national anthem of anime title got arguably even more popular, but also even more disputed. As you, my very educated viewer, must know, Japanese kanji are borrowed from Chinese Hanzi. But at best, it only means that I can understand the broad meaning of a Japanese sentence. The pronunciations and nuances are incredibly different. So Chinese otaku soon started doubting the Kunisaki national anthem kanji connection. To fans who could only read the Hanzi, it made sense to say that if it was really supposed to be a pun on his name, it should be pronounced as Kuniuta, Kunisaki's song, not Koka, the national anthem. And honestly, there's a slight argument that the fans are right to doubt, because the remnants of 2chan are well alive in Chinese otaku spaces, just with a lot more nationalism. Chinese people love calling whatever thing the national blank. For example, Darling in the Franxx was called the national team anime in one Aniplex interview before the show even came out because of its star-studded team, which the producer claimed represented Japan. Wow, isn't that fucking bleak? And while the Japanese and English fans forgot about this phrase pretty much immediately, in China, it remains an incredibly popular nickname for the show. To unpack exactly why would take another way sadder video, but needless to say, we might have wanted to claim that national anthem of anime thing a bit too quickly as well. B, UT, all of that shit might also not matter, because in the beginning of 2006, before any of these proposed scenarios happened, foreign posts, Chinese foreign posts no less, were already calling Tori no Uta the national anthem of anime. Apparently the song won first place in some yearly contest, and in celebration, a fan commented, 大家庆祝一下吧，动心排行鸟之是第一，不愧是 ACG 的国歌, implying that this phrase was at least already popular by early 2005, probably more considering that again it's a Chinese forum, and rendering all of these other possibilities pretty much entirely void. Just like that, we're back to square one. Despite this phrase being so popular that there are wikis about it in multiple languages and communities, so common to the point that every single Bilibili video I can find of Tori no Uta has waves of Damaku spamming Rise Up for the National Anthem. Nobody truly knows how Tori no Uta claimed this title. This song's legacy, as far as I can tell, is a myth, perpetuated by nothing but word of mouth over literal decades. And the most interesting part is that it doesn't seem to matter one bit to them. And as I looked more and more into this topic, I slowly realized that the question I posed at the beginning had been flawed from conception. Why Tori no Uta was called the national anthem doesn't matter. It never did. Because whether there is a reason or not, we wanted there to be one. Let's take a step back and think about what this phrase really means. As silly as the national anthem of anime sounds, it's an earnest expression of belonging. It's not the anthem for being the most popular, the most widely accepted, or maybe even the most emotionally resonant. But it is, as I said before, a vivid cultural object that brings the community and otaku subculture of its time into viscerally sharp focus. Claiming that as something that represents anime fans then feels momentous, like we're a part of something bigger than ourselves, like we are a part of history. That blog under which the earliest utterance of Tori no Uta as ACG's national anthem was found still gets visitors as late as 2 years ago, saying things like, it's still the national anthem, so many years later. And more profoundly, I guess anime also has a national anthem, after all. I don't even want to describe the complex feeling these posts convey, because no word can fully embody the fulfillment of one of our fundamental and most intense human desires: community. I think many of us intuitively understand that we humans are naturally compelled to find connections, build stories, and create purpose that sprawls out of the confines of whatever art we're interpreting. I mean, that's basically the first part of the video. But Tori no Uta as national anthem to me takes a step beyond that and represents a radical desire in all of us to construct meaning which persists even if we don't consciously acknowledge it, even if there is nothing there. It proves that we don't analyze, discuss, and celebrate because there's always something more to it, but because we can always make something more to it. Is there anything ethereal to how Tori no Uta became the national anthem of anime? Well, I kinda think so, but whether that's true does not matter. Because whether you have your own interpretation or not, everyone who's been moved by Tori no Uta's opening notes in our heart of hearts want the same thing. We want to find the song in history, because we found ourselves in the song. We want to belong to history. How much does this particular song's story matter in 2026? Who knows? As Pause and Select's excellent documentary on Akihabara has shown, the 2000s otaku culture it was born out of is pretty much entirely dead due to a series of economic and political factors. While otakus are nowhere near extinct, the physical communities that dance to Hare Hare Yukai, that eulogize Tori no Uta as the national anthem, have become far more dispersed and isolated. In the first place, this title was only popular in Asian communities, making my video probably the second ever time this phrase has been said in the English-speaking sphere. The first time I can find being this article by Artificial Night Sky, or Pars, which explores a separate legacy of Tori no Uta through nerdcore DJ mixes. Go check that out if that sounds interesting to you. Even beyond that, anime fandom has grown so much that the national anthem of anime sounds quaint at best and cringe-inducing at worst nowadays. It doesn't escape me that this video has been documenting a relic of the past that simply is not returning. But I'm not trying to cling onto this relic for whatever it's worth, nor am I suggesting a return to an older, less inclusive time. In fact, it's the complete opposite. What Tori no Uta has reminded me above all else is that history is not some monolith we are clawing to get some speck of meaning out of, but something we participate in. We make it ever-shifting, punctuated with constant ends and beginnings, and we make legacies that sometimes come from nothing. In my years talking about all kinds of media, the best way I can convey the importance and purpose of art is art as belonging, as a way to recenter ourselves in a world that is frantically throwing us into disorientation, a way to find community. From ancient narratives to any Tim Rogers video to the story of this especially good song from a visual novel, that has always been, to put it elegantly, the fucking point. Tori no Uta as national anthem may be a fading myth, but as long as you keep that purpose in mind, as long as you follow that impulse to find meaning and community wherever you can, myth-making will never stop. And it's the only way we can get out of this mess. Hey, it's been a while. Nobody's gonna watch this video because I haven't uploaded in 6 months, so I feel maybe a bit more comfortable coming on here and telling you about a bit of what's happening. Basically, my channel got permanently demonetized by a mass wave of AI detectors false flagging my channel as violating some policy. Basically, I cannot make any money on YouTube anymore unless I talk to somebody who knows somebody inside of YouTube and get it fixed manually. The only option I have in front of me was Nextaku, and I would rather kill myself than talk to that right-wing grifter freak. So I refused to do it. You might call me stupid, just swallow your pride and just fucking, who cares, right? Like, he will help you maybe, and then you can get your career back, potential career back. But I don't know. I realized that I was sick of playing to the algorithm's whims and doing this fucking bullshit. And I just don't like feeling like I have to claw back this platform, which doesn't care about me at all and never has. I don't want to respect it. I don't want to give it any time that it deserves, and I just want to make my art. It might be stupid, but I realized, if nothing, I am stubborn and stupid and passionate, and I want to keep doing this. There's a Patreon if you want to donate, but I'm not going to show it because also I'm not giving out any rewards. There's nothing you can get. It's just a way to support me, potentially. It's been a rough few months, hearing that news. And that's why I haven't uploaded. It felt like the world was crashing down on me. But 6 months later, the world hasn't ended, and I'm still here. And I made another video because I just love it. I like doing it. And I've been doing it for no money for 5 years or something. So I'm not going to stop. I want to thank a few people who made this video possible. The first one is Mari, or Mimi, who doesn't really have a social media presence, but her music you can hear across the video, and it's really good, and it perfectly fits what I'm talking about. So without her music, I don't know where this video would be. Secondly would be Kexi, just for being a source of inspiration, guidance many times, and also for lending me his voice for one line this time. And third, it's just for people in real life who have helped me not go insane. That was hard. I'm gonna keep making shit. I'm gonna keep fighting against this bullshit system. And fuck you. Fuck you.